All right, there we go. I like this better. Good morning. What's up? It's your boy. It's Dennis. Delayed, and we're doing something different today. We're going live, and we're doing the video thing instead of the Twitter Space thing because, honest to God, I'm getting tired of sitting in rooms with a handful of people at a time when I know that there's so many other people out there on different platforms that actually give a shit. So, let's see. I wanted to go over some news. That's right. That's what I want to do today. I want to go over some news and I want to actually like pull it up on the screen. Um, highlight stuff in real time. I think it's been a few weeks. Let me see. Let me get the actual link up into the chat for the homies. I think it's been a few weeks. Like when I say a few, I mean like 12. Um, yeah, I think it's been about 12 weeks or so since we actually did a live stream on here. And I think the last time I did, I was doing a lot of shit on LinkedIn. So shout out. Oh, LinkedIn's not even on my broadcast list. I need to add the LinkedIn on here. One second. How do I not have LinkedIn on here? Oh, I can't do broadcaster pay. I can broadcast to myself though. That's fine. There we go. And now we're going to LinkedIn as well. Okay, perfect. Um, where the hell is the link for the actual Twitter? There we go. That's what I meant to share. Perfect. All right. There we go. There we go. Now we're good. I got that done. I got those links set up. We're recording. We're live. Okay. So, what's going on? What's going on with you? Before we get into it, if you're watching this wherever you're at, if you're watching this now or in the future, what's going on with you? I hope you're doing all right today. I hope you've got everything that you need, whether or not that you know it. And yeah, I just hope that you're vibing out there and keeping your bag safe, keeping yourself safe. There's a lot of shit out there, and it's easy to get caught up in all of it. Very easy. Not just in the Web3 space. So nice to be mindful about that. But yeah, all right. So getting right into it, I think one of the most interesting things off of the rip that let's get this screen pulled up here. First thing we're going to talk about is here we go. Abraham Eisenberg. This is the guy for the Mango Market exploit. This guy, if you don't remember, and for those that weren't there, essentially leveraged an exploit in the smart contract that was present. And you could think of this like a bug pretty much. I don't remember exactly what he ended up doing, but more or less. Oh, okay, no, it's coming back to me now. It wasn't really a bug as much as it was he had the ability. He funded an account with millions of dollars and then bought a bunch of the token, the native Mango token, with that $10 million and then sold that $10 million, wash traded it to himself, increasing the price of the token, and then took out a bunch of loans as collateral with the token at that increased price before the price went down. Somehow or another, he was able to actually make a ton of money. He was able to extract somewhere close to like $100 million, I think. Yeah, $110 million in a market manipulation, price manipulation exploit. And he said he was good. He said he was Gucci about it. He said he wasn't wrong, which was completely bonkers. He was in an episode with Laura from Unchained, and she was talking to him about it, and he went full send. He showed his face and everything, and was just said, "Hey, this is totally legit. My team and myself found a market uh, trading tactic that we figured would be highly profitable, and we leveraged it." So that's what they ended up doing, and it was just absolutely bonkers at the time to hear him. It's so brazen, just like so bold to come out and say that. And I think that it highlights a lot of what I find wrong in like the Web3 and the crypto space, which is there's so many people that exist in the space and are, proponents of blockchain technology simply because they can leverage it um, in a disproportionate way for themselves. And I just don't think that that's cool. So, um, you just get to see my face. Sorry. You just get to see my face. So yeah, there we go. Now you might be saying to yourself, Dennis, can you keep going with what you were talking about because you got distracted there? And I'll be like, yeah. So what I was gonna say was more or less that yeah, the crypto space in general. I have a huge problem with it. I have a huge problem with the trading mentality that exists in the space. A lot of people feel as if that's the whole entire purpose of blockchain is just to make money, just to trade and have another digital crypto or digital fiat currency, and like that's definitely a benefit of it, but that's definitely not the only reason that it exists. And so it's one of the big focuses that I have for myself when I'm in the space, when I'm talking to people is and connecting with people and networking is, are you in this because you actually care, or are you in this because you want to make money and you have invested in NFTs or you know even DAOs and stuff. Like that's the thing that I think sucks the most is seeing how many people again like are investing in these concepts but are really just trading, and it's speculative behavior. It's not cool. It's not sustainable. Um, let's see. So yeah, Abraham, the guy from the Mango Market exploit, yeah, he's getting detained. He's been arrested already, but the judge that's overseeing this has more or less said that he can't leave detention um, because he's such a risk to the case itself. He presents a considerable flight risk. So I think it's very interesting, and I think that it's something that could be studied and should be looked at. We talk about exploits in the crypto space a lot, and this isn't necessarily something that we talk about all the time. A lot of times we're talking about smart contract exploits, or we're talking about um, actual malware stealing your seed phrase, um, or using social engineering tactics to get that information and more or less take advantage of you in that sense. But um, manipulating price is something that happens quite frequently. And this is more or less a due diligence thing in terms of like understanding the tokenomics and how there's more to look at instead of just, well, what kind of token is it and what platform or what network um, is it on? Um, what's the utility? Like, there's so much more to tokenomics than that because it essentially is the economy of the entire project. So, with something like Mango Markets, they had a huge tokenomics issue which had not been addressed, and Abraham identified it, and he was able to go in and, for better or worse, leverage that lack of oversight, I guess, and leverage these mechanisms in order to benefit financially. He did end up giving back a lot of money, and he ended up saying that there was like a philosophical cause behind all of it. He was more or less trying to. Um, he was upset about the way that the market had handled some debt with, I believe, the Solana Foundation, or no, it wasn't Solana Foundation. It was another Solana-based lending platform, Solend, I think. Um, he was more or less upset about the way that the mango markets had interacted with them when they had been manipulated and exploited. I think there was a big loan that was given out, and so he said this was kind of like retribution for that too. So I think that was kind of dumb, but whatever. Let's see what else we got here in the news today. Um, Interesting stuff. Let me go ahead and grab this, paste it here. Bing bong. Regulator sees millions in Robinhood shares from FTX. And we're just going to run through it here. So the U.S. Justice Department said in a Delaware bankruptcy court hearing, that it had taken custody of $450 million in Robinhood shares from FTX. Okay, so if you don't know, the whole FTX thing is such an issue, and it's so hard to understand. It's so hard to wrap your brain around, especially if you're not in finance or crypto or both. If you're outside of crypto and finance in general, then this is going to be something that's like confusing as shit. If you're in crypto, you'll understand this. If you're in finance, you'll probably understand this. If you're in both, you'll probably definitely get it. But long story short, FTX collapsed because it was loaning out customer funds to its sister company, Alameda, which was a hedge fund. So this is kind of like the whole Robinhood thing back in 2021, where they were ultimately selling through a legitimate legal mechanism called payment for order flow. Robinhood was selling customer data to large market makers that also had hedge funds connected, or that were hedge funds essentially, and they were able to programmatically trade against that information that was being provided to them by Robinhood, which was their own users. So that's kind of already been going on. Like, we understand that. So FTX and Alameda, that's kind of the relationship they already had. You had a hedge fund, which, as it turned out, had unlimited, unfettered access to FTX's customer data through a series of different functions, or features, I guess, if you want to call them that. Alameda employees are able to essentially see into FTX's operations with zero oversight and as much as they wanted. And FTX, on the other hand, couldn't see that. So it was like a one-way mirror type situation going on. And they also had the backdoor built in that was funneling money from FTX to Alameda whenever Alameda needed it. On top of that, Alameda didn't have any traditional margin requirements that were actually like not implied, but that the account actually had, like the Alameda account itself with FTX didn't have margin requirements like usual accounts would. So there's like a bunch of like interesting behavior, special privileges, etc., that was provided to Alameda. But on top of that, to consider how all of that was going on, you have to realize that there was money coming in from all over the place, and people weren't necessarily depositing cash. FTX definitely was an on ramp for a lot of people, so they would put their fiat currency into it, and they would get tokens from it, and then they could do whatever they want. So there was definitely some fiat currency that was being deposited, but that's not necessarily what was lended over to Alameda. Whenever Alameda, which ended up, as it turns out, lost their ass in the Lunaterra debacle, and probably a lot of the Ohm forks that crashed in early 2022, based on what I've seen with them and their behavior on Curve. So we know that they've been doing things. And they lost their ass with that. So they were just able to pull from FTX whenever they wanted, and they were using FTT tokens a lot, which is their made up cryptocurrency. It was a platform exchange token, so you could use it to get better rates when it came to doing transactions and blah 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 blah. But essentially, it was just the local exchange token. It's like if you go to the casino and they give you a bunch of chips. So that's essentially what was going on there. Whenever now it gets complicated, because when you look into how they were buying and they were investing and they were moving things around, they were also trading things like stock and stuff, and they were putting their money into different companies, and they were taking their bitcoins and swapping them for fiat. They were taking different types of shit coins and swapping them for bitcoin. So there was like a whole bunch of swapping and trading going on. So a lot of the assets themselves, a lot of the money itself that was ultimately taken ended up in some way or shape or form getting turned into a lot of Robinhood shares. So that's kind of like what we got going on right now is you have a bunch of Robinhood shares that belong to FTX through this company called Emergent, which was founded by SBF and Gary Wang. And the whole point was to purchase the publicly traded Robinhood shares. So they ended up spending what we can assume to be customer funds on $550 million, um, or on yeah, how much was it? They used the funds taken in loans totaling 546, so $550 million from Alameda Research to buy the shares. Yeah, so $550 million from Alameda. So like, and that was another thing that's going on in this case as well. It's very confusing. It's got to be very hard for John Ray and the rest of the team that's actually doing the math and doing the accounting and stuff to figure out what's going on, because there's so much back and forth, right? Just between Alameda and FTX, there's so much back and forth. But you also have, companies, VCs like Sequoia and stuff like that, that were investing into FTX, but then FTX was turning around and reinvesting into them. So you have like how much the cost basis here is just completely fucked, essentially, is what we're getting into. So that's really what I think to be another interesting article for the day. Um, let's just a little bit more into it. Seizures that have taken place are ordered by the court in connection with the criminal actions in the Southern District of New York with respect to Mr. Bankman, Miss Ellison, Mr. Wang. FTX lawyer James Brownlee said on Wednesday the things that are being seized have to do with the Robinhood stock. Brownlee cited ongoing litigation surrounding the collapse of FTX and subsequent Chapter 11 bankruptcy of BlockFi in November 2022, as well as proceedings taking place in Antigua and Barbuda regarding, that's a fun word to say, the Robinhood shares. We're obviously reserving our rights with respect to the debtors and expect the other parties as well. But just wanted to make sure that it was clear that the Robinhood shares that were being seized from accounts that are not currently under control of the debtors. Let's examine that real quick. Interesting. The Robinhood shares being seized were seized from accounts that are not currently under control of the debtors. So that's interesting. I wonder what what's interesting to me is the concept of control of the debtors. Because this is something that was founded by one up here. It says it was founded by Gary Wang and SPF. They formed a holding company to purchase the shares. They take it. Okay, so it's a completely separate company from FTX. And it's not an FTX subsidiary like we had seen a lot of in that crazy convoluted document. It's not an FTX subsidiary. A likely claimant to the shares besides FTX creditors includes BlockFi. Shares were promised to it by Bankman Fried, and the now bankrupt company has to obtain the pledged shares. Okay. In the hearing, the Justice Department said it would file a notice of seizure that will lay out all of the agency's assets that were taken from FTX. Bing bong. GM. It's so crazy. What's up, everybody on Twitter? Fucking StreamYard's crazy. It doesn't tell me who's on Twitter. On everything else, it says. Oh, there you go. All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, if you guys want to come up too, feel free to drop a. Um, here, let me go ahead and get a tweet thread going real quick. Actually, that'd be a good thing to do. So give me a second. I'll pull that up. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Seriously, I was going to do the space this morning, but I'm just like spaces. Oh, I'm so fucking tired of just sitting in spaces for an hour and a half and not being able to even like showcase this shit. Like I want to show off this stuff right here. I want to actually like do things. I just audio spaces are cool. If I could figure out a way to do the two at the same time, that's what I was trying to do. It didn't work out, but you know, yeah. All right, give me 2 seconds. Let me go ahead and well, here we'll just go ahead and comment. Go ahead and comment right here on that actual thing itself, on the post itself. That's the one. Let's retweet this. Drop your comments, guys. DM me if you want to come up. Bing bong. All right, cool. And it's such a beautiful day outside too. I don't know what that has to do with me deciding to do a live stream over audio space, but I did. So yeah, we're Gucci now. And Chef Rouge, if you're, are you good now? Are you one of the handful of people listening now, Chef Rouge? If you are, then GM. If you're not, well, then GM whenever you do get here. Oh, let me get coffee real quick. I'm drinking out of my mom of the year cup, or it actually says mom turned upside down. Is wow. Oh yeah, getting the French press right here. I can't even think straight. I'm looking at this coffee. It looks so good. GM, GM. Okay, so that's where I'm at with the with the FTX thing here. FTX buys or FTX. Not even fuck. It doesn't even have anything to do with FTX. I'm so conditioned to think that FTX and SPF go together like peanut butter and jelly that I can't even talk about one without the other. But shares of Robinhood, the Robinhood shares, have been seized from a company co-founded by Gary Wang and SPF that took out a loan from Alameda that was what was it? I think it was about 500, 450, 500. Where's the fucking screen? That's the one that is. I think it's about $550 million. That is a shit ton of money to take out and buy Robinhood stock with. And why Robinhood stock? I'm so confused about that too. Like I can't, my brain can't even like process that right now. Like I don't even understand what their prerogative was behind that. Like, did they intend on? Because like, how much? When did they? I need to find out more about this real quick. You guys are gonna go on a trip with me. Emergent Robinhood. Let's see. Reuters. Let's go to the Reuters article. I wish I could change screens without having to stop the screen. I'll just share my entire Chrome window. God, I'm so lazy. Pop this StreamYard tab off real quick. And then just do the entire Chrome window. Yeah. Sweet. Okay. So I'll put you back up there. All right, and now we're looking at this. US DOJ seizes 465. Jesus' ad is huge. I hate it when they do that. Seizes $465 million Robinhood shares tied to Bankman Fried. When were these shares bought? How many shares? 56 million shares. Okay, that's the answer I wanted right there. What? How many shares are there right now circulating Robinhood? Let's see. Robinhood markets. Let's see. Where's the information? Fuck about the screener. I want to know about Robinhood. Where the fuck did that beautiful? I don't give a fuck about that. God damn it. I want to know. Yeah, I want to know about the fucking company. Where's the company information? Oh, it's probably on the side here. It looks like they updated this. All right, so we got, let's see, watch list. Good. Key stats. There we go. What's that volume over time? Like, is that how many actual shares are circulating? I'm about to fucking ask. How many shares total? That's what I want to know. If you're listening to this right now, Styles, you're probably laughing at me. Like this dumbass motherfucker. We'll just take the market cap divided by the current price, and that should give us the number of shares, right? 717,166 000 divided by $8. Says there's no fucking way. 880 million shares. What? How many shares of Robinhood are there? How many shareholders are in Robinhood? Vanguard Group owns 6%. Well, we can do that too. All right, so we got 879 million. So 49 million is. Oh man, I always sucked at this. And fucking, I gotta write it down on fucking paper. So the question was, what percent? What number is 49 million 6.5% of? So what number times 0.652 equals 49 million? Probably close to that number now that I'm just like looking at this. So then we want to divide that decimal point for 49 million. That comes out to 75. No, that's not right. No, there's no way. My math is horrible. What number times that do that? Millions. Let me just ask Google. We'll do this then. Percent calculator. Oh, son of a bitch. All right. What is blank percent of blank? Blank is what percent of blank? Blank is blank percent. There we go. 49 million 49,033,000 33,955 is 6.52% of up. Okay, so I was just off by a number. I was off by a decimal point. I think that I needed to move that decimal over some shit, and that would probably I don't know. I'm just a dipshit, honestly. So that is 752 million shares, and that's not that far off of my original, which is 879. So FTX, or I'm sorry, Sam Bankman-Fried picked up 56 million shares. So a little bit less than 10%, right? Like, holy shit. So 56. Do math over here on the calculator. So if there's, how many did we say? 750? We'll say 700. We'll just say 750. So there's 750. Just do the division. So you have 56 million divided by 750 million. We got the 7.5%. Yeah, FTX had a 7 and or Sam Bankman-Fried had it, but still 7.5%. What are you gonna do with 7.5% of Robinhood? What's your end game? That's what I'm trying to fucking figure out here. I lost my fucking tabs. Oh, there it is. Still. Second. Anyway, so let me know what you think. If you got an idea, drop it in the comments. I'm completely boggled over here right now. Let's keep moving though. Let's move on. This is an interesting one. Let me bring it over here. Bing bong. Let's do a F11 on this shit because I'm tired of you guys seeing my bookmarks tab. My bookmarks bar. How dare you? How dare you? All right. One viewer now. Hello, my single viewer. All right. Judge rules Celsius earn account funds belong to the estate, not to users. Now, this is a big thing. There's a lot of money locked up in Celsius. Everybody knows that. In particular, there's this earn program, which was essentially a program that is just like it sounds. It was an earning platform. You got a shit ton of yield for giving them your money. The unbanked company became a bank, essentially. Like, absolutely bonkers. The irony is so thick when you're talking about Celsius. Everything else, Three Arrows, even Luna and Terra, I can get away with that. I can understand people. But the people that invested in Celsius, and more, not even the people, but so much as like the company itself, the people that worked at Celsius, the whole brand concept of creating a centralized, not bank that did what banks do. It's so funny. It was like I was listening to CoffeeZilla this morning, talk with his one of his homies, and I forgot homeboy's name. I gotta look that up real quick before the end of this. But they were talking about the concept of like the anti, guru and stuff like that. And yeah, sometimes I feel like I say that, like I'm the anti-marketer. But I think it's a whole nother level whenever you take it to this degree. When you're selling bank products under the guise of being anti-bank, I mean, come on now. Like, that to me is the crime, in my opinion. bonk live investigation. Is that what you guys want to talk about? You guys want to talk about that bonk shit? Is it a pump and dump? Why? So it's Alex is in that space right now. Maybe. I don't know. I don't give a shit, honestly. Is it a pump and dump? 99%. Yes, of course it is. Why the fuck are we even having spaces about the discussion of that? It's perpetuating the bullshit. And I'm just it's like the Logan Paul shit. The crypto zoo fucking pumping after the CoffeeZilla thing comes out. Like, come on. Absolutely fucking bonkers. Let's go ahead and check out that, by the way. But let's get ready to look at that. We're going to look at the Celsius stuff here in a second, but we are going to also get ready to look at and talk about Logan Paul, CoffeeZilla, because that is some shit. Like, yeah, I don't, yeah, that is this whole Logan Paul thing. I've honestly had an issue with him for a while, so I'm actually really excited to see what's going on here. I need to pull up a chart of that. And there's so many new things here. Crypto Zoo, new. Like, what the fuck is this? Old Crypto Zoo, new Crypto Zoo. It's all pumping. It's all doing its own fucking thing. It's all absolutely fucking bonkers. This is crazy. And it's sad. Anyway, let's run through this article real quick. Digital assets deposited into Celsius Network's EARN program belong to the bankrupt company's estate, not to individual users, according to a Wednesday ruling by U.S. bankruptcy judge Martin Glenn. The court also determined that Celsius bankruptcy estate can sell $18 million worth of stablecoins, which were deposited in EARN accounts to fund administrative expenses. EARN assets in EARN accounts constitute property of the estates, and that the debtors may sell stablecoins outside of the ordinary course of business, the judge ruled. Users who participated in the bankrupt company's lending service were told they could earn interest on cryptocurrencies deposited with the company, but lose access to their funds in June when Celsius lost access when Celsius froze withdrawals on the platform, citing extreme market conditions. New name of a band. I can't believe there's no bands that have been started like in the Web3 space. Like, I need a Web3 metal band called Extreme Market Conditions. That's what I need today. Today's ruling will likely prevent those who took advantage of the service from receiving the full amount they deposited because they are considered unsecured creditors and may recover only a small percentage of their claims as a result. This sounds like why the FDIC exists. I'm not a fucking genius. I'm not a fucking banker or anything like that, but I feel like this is what the FDIC protects from. And again, it just adds like another layer of irony to the not bank doing bank things with your money. And then you as the user, Celsius's users, get all of the repercussions of this. It's sad and it's ironic. When Celsius enters bankruptcy in July, or entered it, the company had approximately 600,000 interest-bearing accounts. 600,000 people they had to pay additional money to on top of the money that they were already given. The recent filing states that the value of the company's EARN account was approximately $4.2 billion before it filed bankruptcy. A portion of the EARN accounts were consisted of stablecoins, which were valued at $23 million. $23 million in stablecoins. I wish I had that. The determination referenced Celsius's term of use for those that participated in the company's lending service, which states Celsius has held all right and title to such eligible digital assets, including ownership rights. In objecting to the estate's arguments, account holders argued that the terms of service for EARN accounts were ambiguous and that the asset's ownership could not be considered without weighing additional evidence, such as statements made by former company chief executive Alex Mashinsky. What's up, guys? You're going to go to the skate park without me? The skate, not the real skate park, the one around the corner. Like, okay. Thank you for telling me. That's awesome. All right. So, long story short, Celsius users are fucked, is I think what that really comes down to. Um, all right. So let's get into the good shit, though. Thank you for sticking with me. Well, actually, there's a little bit more good shit. Let me undo that right there. Add this other. Got so many fucking tabs I got flying around. I need to organize my shit better. All right. Fake Solana NFTs are being sold on Magic Eden in a massive exploit. Creators and collectors of Solana based NFTs are up in arms today as a major exploit at lending marketplace Magic Eden appears to be allowing customers or scammers to pass off and sell fake NFTs as being part of prominent verified collections. Ooh, man, Magic Eden. Discussion around the exploit flared up early this morning on Twitter, where users alleged that Magic Eden was listing fraudulent NFTs from popular collections like ABC and Utes. Sellers were apparently able to pass off the NFTs as being part of those projects and sell them for hundreds of dollars worth of SOL or more. Magic Eden tweeted out about the situation this morning, thanking community members for alerting us that there was an issue where people could buy fake ABC NFTs. The marketplace said that it had added more verification layers per collection to resolve the issue and encouraged affected traders to reach out to marketplace support. I have a hot take. Let me take some coffee and refine it before I spit it out. This is due to the human verification nature of all of this. What a spicy take. Let's dig in more, but I'm thinking that that's what it has to do with. And think about that. And if you're listening to this on Twitter, reflect on what's currently happening on Twitter with the verification and all of the rigmarole that Musk has had to go through over the last couple months to try to figure out this whole human moderation verification thing, because inherently it's ambiguous. I've listed collections on Solana, on Magic Eden, and I've had to go through the process, and it's Magic Eden in particular is really messy. You have to talk to people. You have to the messaging AI chatbot that you have to go through doesn't account for all of the things that you might actually need to do, only what they want you to talk to them about. So it's really difficult to go through it already in the first place. It's easy to submit information. Anybody can submit anything. I can go in and create anything I want, submit it, and say that it's legit, and understand that there's different types of verification here in conceptually that we're thinking of here. And I think there's a conflation between those. There's the verification that you're a human and that's something that you created, or at least have the rights to distribute, and you're wanting to be verified as a legitimate individual. And then there's verification from the standpoint of the user looking at a verified account. We see that as like a thumbs up, as like a stamp of approval, essentially. So there's that, but then there's also verification in terms of, well, is this a specific project, right? Like, is this Bored Ape Yacht Club, but on Solana? And is that associated with Yuga, right? Like, somebody has to go through and make that determination. If Yuga decided that they were going to launch a derivatives project on Solana, they would be able to go to Magic Eden and they would get a check mark that says this is an official, or they should get a check mark that says this is associated to the official brand itself. But like, that's the human verification issue, is that there's subjectiveness in all of this. And a lot of times people think that verification is the latter. It's verifying that it's associated to a particular brand or associated to a particular thing, when in reality it's more or less just a verifying that you're not a fucking bot. So, and it's inherently difficult, no matter what, whether you're running a marketplace or you're running a social media account or network. So definitely something to take into consideration, and also something to think about, like, especially like this is kind of ironic to a degree when you look at and consider that Magic Eden is a NFT marketplace, but it's a centralized one. So again, it's a centralized thing. It's just like a bank in that sense. It's centralized, it's controlled by other people. And sometimes that centralization can lead to unnecessary risks or unnecessary issues that, if you could figure out a way to code around it using a smart contract, you could avoid those issues. Sometimes being a human in the first place adds more trouble to the problem than if you can just create and code a solution to the problem itself. Thank you for telling me that, Chef Rouge. Appreciate you. Have to stay on the page to hear it, though. Yeah, that does blow. Ideally, my goal is to do this at the same time as I'm doing a Twitter space. The hard part is streaming the Twitter space audio through to the video itself in real time without there being a delay. And there's a whole bunch of like dumb video live stream production workflow stuff that has to go into it. But yeah, so, well, I appreciate you for however long you can stay. And it's recorded the same way. But yeah, we'll figure this out. I just had to get back. I had to do something. I had to turn the camera on. I got this beautiful setup. I got these lights right here, and I got the camera at the tightest aperture so you can actually see. I've got no focusing issues right now. Like it's I'm crisp, you're crisp, we're all crisp. And we're vibing. So anyway, let's keep going into it. So don't buy these Utes NFT on Magic Eden. They are fake. Basically, every single collection is fake on Magic Eden. A massive exploit is happening right now. It's ongoing. High value NFTs are suffering the most as attackers choose to exploit higher value NFTs first. The pseudo-anonymous ABC creator HGE and other notable Solana figures said that the problem still wasn't fixed. HGE described the issue as a massive exploit and called on Magic Eden to temporarily shut down the marketplace until the issue is completely resolved. Another volume is important, but limit the damage first, he tweeted. Make sure the exploit is stopped, like really make sure of it. After 1 p.m., Magic Eden tweeted the issue had been resolved. Users may still see fraudulent listings until they hard refresh their browsers. Control-Shift-R if you're on Windows. Update, please hard refresh your browsers to make sure you're only seeing verified collection items. We're monitoring the situation. We'll use this thread for updates. We have fixed 2 issues. Oh man, I want to see the whole thread. Fake NFTs being listed on collection pages, and the taxation or the transaction of fake NFTs on activity tabs. Earlier today, we resolved the root issue, but believe users who didn't hard refresh their browsers still saw unverified NFTs on collection and activity pages. This is likely a situation that has impacted fewer than 10 collections. We will do a public post-mortem with more details. Update, Magic Eden is safe for trading. Users will not be able to buy unverified NFTs on the platform. Over the last day, the issue was contained to 25 unverified NFTs in 4 collections. We are confirming impact beyond the last 24 hours. I'm excited to know more about that. Oh man, let's go back to Homeboy's post. All right, let's see here. Basically, every single collection is fake. And look at Solon Art coming in. Oh my god. Solon Art. That was a hard one for me. That's there's like Solon Art, Magic Eden, and there's one more that's like and then like all of these Solana marketplaces suck. Like that's one thing that I wish we could improve is the UX on these marketplaces, because they're just trash. They all look like fucking like some like high school graphic design job gone bad. And no shame to high school graphic designers, but yeah. So where's more information on this? I want more information. We'll dig up more information, I suppose, over the next day or so, and let you guys know what's going on there. Blah 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 blah. All right, here we go. Logan Paul threatens to sue CoffeeZilla over his scam. This is so bonkers. And there's actually a lot to take in here. There's some logical fallacies that I think need examining. Just absolutely bonkers. Everything, and I'll just leave it at this. I'll start at this, and then I'll probably leave it at this before I dive in even deeper and lie to you about the entire thing. The crazy thing here is Logan Paul if you've watched the video, Logan goes in and accuses CoffeeZilla of defaming him, of going out of his way to interview the worst people, blah blah blah, like all this shit. But here's the thing: he ultimately ends up admitting to being the reason behind all of it in his accusations against CoffeeZilla. If you're unaware, way back, like 2 years ago now, Logan Paul, after all of that Suicide Forest stuff, decided to get into crypto, and he did this crypto zoo thing, and it was like an NFT project / game where there was a bunch of NFTs that were mix mashed photoshopped versions of animals. It'd be like a cat and an elephant or some shit, and just jam them together, and then you play the game, you get eggs, you buy eggs with tokens. It's like supposed to be like some dumb dollar store version of fucking Pokemon, and it just never came to fruition. There was a few things that did come to fruition, but really at the end of the day, it didn't really come to fruition. And CoffeeZilla ended up doing a whole fucking thing about it. 3-part series, interviewed team members, talked to developers, et cetera, and just said, like, what's the deal with this? And pretty much, like, framed it like, Logan Paul's a scammer here, but like there's a lot more to it than that. And in Logan's defense, he did have a lot of shitty people on his team, but he was the one that hired them and managed them. And he also didn't manage the fucking project very well. He didn't stay up to date. He didn't communicate with anybody in the community at all. Despite it falling apart, despite being able to make money. Like, that's the thing that kills me, is like, as a community manager, with the Quokkas, with all of these other projects that I've helped out with, I've stayed as long as I possibly could to help out, not even being the founder necessarily. Getting paid just tiny incremental amounts, if anything, compared to Logan Paul over here making hundreds, having $100 million. And even on the low end, having, I think, around like $40 million is what he had essentially like market capped it at, based on all of the sales. And that was, and that wasn't enough for him. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, imagine getting $40 million and that not being enough to motivate you to just keep doing the thing that you're doing. Like, that's bonkers. And it makes you really wonder, like, it makes you really wonder. But anyway, so getting into it, essentially he goes into CoffeeZilla saying, like, he accused CoffeeZilla of interview. Well, one, he just jumped right into attacking CoffeeZilla as an individual. Never answered a single question that was asked. Before he even made the video, Coffee tried to get Logan on the video, and he never responded. And he went through his manager twice. Remember that, because we'll get back to that. But twice he talked to his manager, or sent messages to Logan's manager. Never heard back before finally reaching out to Logan himself. After the video dropped, Logan Paul said, well, hey, you come over here, get on my show. Let's get on and let's talk about it in person. And that didn't happen. Coffee's like, no way, I'm good. So then Logan shared a bunch of stuff saying, like, oh, Coffee doesn't want to talk to me. I've tried talking to him, so we're going to drop all the information on my new episode of my show, blah, blah, blah. So when he finally drops it in response to CoffeeZilla's amazing journalism, when he finally drops it, he doesn't go in to actually answer. He doesn't address a single thing that was levied at him from CoffeeZilla or by the members of the community, because a lot of what Coffee covered was actually just the general consensus of the community members themselves, the people that invested into the project and lost their ass. So he really wasn't, as far as I'm aware, creating anything more in terms of like an idea other than what was already collectively available, and just kind of organizing it as something that was a little bit more coherent for people to see on the internet. And in doing so, that kind of pissed off Logan. Logan came back, like I said, just didn't address a single thing, immediately went to attacking him personally, attacking him physically, like just really low level ad hominem logical fallacies. Which, if you're not familiar, is just a basic way of when you have two people in an argument, the first person says, hey, well, you did this, you did that, why did you do it? And then the second person says, well, I don't need to listen to you because you're an idiot. Or like, I don't need to answer that question because you're dumb. Essentially invalidating the argument because through attacking the character of the individual presenting the argument. And that's just not a cool thing to do. So there's that, ad hominems within 30 seconds. And then it gets into some really crazy stuff. He accuses CoffeeZilla of not doing the due diligence to reach out to him personally, but instead, and said that reaching out to his manager wasn't enough. I'm confused about what the concept of a manager is for a social media personality, right? Like, I don't like, either I'm confused about what that job description is, or Logan Paul is confused about what that job description is. It's my interpretation that a manager is supposed to be there to make it so that you don't have to field a bunch of individual calls and emails and text messages and DMs, and like, you have somebody that will help you do that stuff and talk to people on your behalf. But apparently Logan doesn't think that, so he accused Coffee of not doing the right thing, not doing enough due diligence by not reaching out to him, but instead reaching out to his manager. Then he goes on to attack the character of one of the people that CoffeeZilla was interviewing. However, this was the lead developer of the project. So he goes to attack CoffeeZilla and say that person isn't a credible person to talk to regarding this because he's a felon and because he's a scammer and blah 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 blah. In doing so, though, seems to not realize that he's ultimately, like, okay, let me put it this way. It's like it's like basic geometry theorems here, right? If this is like this, then that is like that. So if CoffeeZilla, if Logan Paul is saying that CoffeeZilla's doing a bad job at interviewing because he's talking to somebody of ill rapport, bad reputation, a felon, so throwing these ad hominems out there, saying whatever they have to say doesn't matter because there's just bad people, despite the fact that they have internal knowledge of how everything went down on this project. If that makes CoffeeZilla a bad person, or at least bad at what he's doing, then it also has to reflect back on Logan as the founder and the person that hired that individual and worked with him, and ultimately didn't pay him. And despite what you think about that person, there were still services rendered that never got paid for. So that is something to consider. Nowhere that I'm aware of in all of this does it turn out that that person, Eddie, not Eddie, the dev, Eddie's another dude, but the dev itself, he didn't steal money. He didn't rug pull this. So the whole he's a scammer has nothing to do with the actual argument at hand anyway. Again, just another distraction. Then he went on to accuse CoffeeZilla of, again, cherry picking the argument, which is really funny because he cherry picked that argument. So what I mean by that is, in the video, he goes on to talk about one of the people that he interviewed that lost money in the project. Turns out that person had rug pulled 2 other projects and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, Coffee had actually interviewed several people. And of those interviewed, that was the only one that Logan decided to cherry pick and turn around and say that he was on purpose trying to cherry pick people from the CryptoZoo community to purposefully make him look bad. But again, like, he cherry picked that singular individual out of half a dozen individuals that showed up in the video, and probably another half dozen or so that were interviewed that might not have made it into the final video. So I think that that's also it's just fucking ridiculous. So long story short, Logan Paul says he's going to sue CoffeeZilla because he's defaming him. However, everything that he accused CoffeeZilla of doing to defame him is ultimately reflective back on Logan himself as being the head honcho in charge of the entire fucking thing. So I just don't think this is going to go well for him. Anyway, I don't really think there's anything else to talk about. This is going to be something I'm going to probably do more regularly. I like doing live streams. I like doing videos. It makes me feel more active. It makes me feel like I'm actually getting more stuff done. And I really do enjoy it. So you guys just keep your eye out. Oh, cool. Check this out. Guys, how lucky am I? I got a promotion. I got an offer of promotion for my channel. Viewers, followers, views, and chatbots. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Auto on. Incredibly flexible and convenient order management panel. Everything is in your hands. Turn it on, off, customize. Go to dogehype.space.com. Don't actually go to that website if you're listening to this. That'd be a horrible fucking thing for you to do. I really don't recommend that you do that. But I do recommend that you follow the Mindful DGens on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And you have a great day. You're really dead ass. Like, that's really what it's all about. I'm Dennis. I'm Delayed. I'm the founder. I like doing this shit. I like talking about Web3. I like talking about AI. I like talking about the new technologies that are on the rise. And I think that there's a lot of people that participate in these technologies and in this space that aren't necessarily doing their best or putting in their best effort, and more or less kind of just focusing on themselves and not the rest of the people. So my goal is to kind of create that community, to create that space to bring the people together that actually give a shit and want to learn more. They want to grow together. They want to hang out and just fucking be here as all of this amazing stuff unfolds over the next couple decades. So that's what the Mindful DGens is all about. If you're about that life, come follow us on Twitter. That's where we mainly hang out. But again, I'll be doing more stuff on Twitch. I'll be doing more stuff on YouTube. I'll be doing more stuff on LinkedIn because that's the way it is. So appreciate y'all. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you on Monday.